break that down, this is droning, the melody's on the E string, so we're going to drone the open A. And then when we go to the D note, let's drone the open D below it. Okay, ready, and... Great, and then all the same as the first phrase. And then, so we're droning the open E above it once our melody notes go to the A string. So open E and A together. Great, so let's do that. We'll anticipate the first note. 1, 2, 3, and... And then the beat part. Okay, there's lots of fun things that we can do with the beat part. And open string drone is a great way to start. So that's where we hit the 3 chord, right? Which is a C chord. So when we put our C down and we drone the open E above it, we spell a C chord C, E, G. So that's perfect. So. And then 7. So when we hit the G, we can either hit open G below it, or we can play a B above it, just like we did in Old Joe Clark. So that would be... Okay, so the first part is A and E, going up to a C and an E, and then A and E again, going down to a G. So that was with the G and the B. So let's do that same thing again. And great. Okay. So this time, let's instead of hitting the B above the G, we'll go down and hit the open G below it. Ready, and right. Okay. Now some other options for that same part. So what we're doing is having a G note on the E string be the drone for both the 3 chord and the 7 chord. So we're hitting, and that C is the melody note, and we're going to put our second finger on both the A and the E strings to hit the C and the G. Right, so that would be... Great, and now this time we're going melody note. Instead of hitting the G down here, we're going to hit the G up on the E string, and we'll keep the B on the A string. Right, so that will sound... So notice that the G on the top is the note that stays the same, and it's the note on the A string that changes from a C or to a B. So that sounds like... Let's try that, and great. Okay. So another thing to do is it's the same thing, just down on the opposite string. So the G is still the note that stays constant. The melody note is a C, and then the B. So open A and E again at the beginning. We're going to hit the C and the G below it on the D string. And then open A and E, C and G. Excuse me, B and G. Right. So that's another way to do it. And then one more way. So instead of hitting the E above the C, we can hit the E on the D string. Right. Actually, let's do it this way. That's fun. Okay, so we're going to play open A with an E below it this time, which is on your D string. So instead of the E above it. So play the E and the A together. Now put your C down. Go back to the E and A. Now B on your A string and G. Right. Okay? So tons of different ways to just make sure that the C chord, the 3 chord, and the 7 chord have different notes going on with them. There are easier ways and more complicated ways. You can pick whichever one you want, and then go back, once you feel comfortable with it, go back and start picking out another one. Okay? And so that's just with the first 2 phrases, right? Okay, and then that's our 3rd phrase. So just an open E drone above it. And then right, or you could do that also. That's keeping, instead of the open E drone above it, you're putting your first finger down on the D string and the A is above it. C. Right. That's another way. So putting the E above it, the E below it. Okay. Okay. So another embellishment thing is that we talked about in the last lesson is shuffling, and it's great to shuffle on this tune, especially in the B part. It's adding them in as many different places as you want to, or as infrequently. So let's try doing that. I'll do it first. Ready, and then great. That's it. So adding shuffles in. Now, obviously, you can add the shuffles to whatever double stops you're doing too, and that makes a really thick, crazy happening. So that would be. So adding them in wherever you want. And it sounds really different when you're doing the different voicings of the chords. Yeah, okay. So, to recap, we have open string drones with the anticipation at the beginning for the A part. And then on the B part, we have different voicings for 3 and 7, and adding shuffles in. So, let's give that a shot.